I had a lot of ADD. I still have ADD, right? And ADD is not always a curse, sometimes just a blessing. As a young person, 8, 9 years old, my mother just wanted to get me off the Ritalin, because Ritalin is speed. The
Yeah.
drugs we give kids
Mm-hmm.
is speed. It's not organic. You know, it's going to mess with our metabolism. It's going to mess with our mindset. It just isn't healthy. So my mom, God love her, she thought if I can get away from spinning all these plates that I was keeping up and bring that focus into one place, and she always played piano. So we had a little Italian guy in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
Mr. Minetti.
Okay.
So she started me with lessons with Mr. Minetti. And my job was to get up to a half hour of rehearsing at 8 years old. Well, my mother was with us.
How long could you last, like, in the beginning?
5 minutes.
Okay.
5 minutes.
And then you'd want to get out of there?
She never gave me the, no, you've got to sit there and do it. She did, okay, 5 minutes is good. Let's wait a few minutes and go back. Right?
Oh, okay.
So she let me break it up in pieces, which was very encouraging for me. You know, gave me a chance to walk away, get rid of this and sit back down and try it again. And, you know, anyone who thinks that reading notes is an easy deal, it's not an easy deal when your mind's all aflutter. But
it's
hard.
It's hard to begin with.
Yeah, it's hard.
Anybody who reads music, I mean, I used to memorize it in high school, so I didn't have to read. And
scales aren't the most, aren't the most fun thing to play, right? Just going up and down, but you have to work on your dexterity. But eventually, that experience of playing the piano from ages 8 through 17, if I didn't have that, I would have never gone to college. I would have never been a professional athlete. Because there was, even though I was playing, and you know this, even though I was playing somebody else's music, I was able to fiddle with the arrangement and play it my way. So it gave me an outlet to not only concentrate, but also to be expressive. And for me, I love playing ragtime music. Joplin's Maple Leaf Rag is still one of my favorite all-time songs. So I got to tell you a funny story. Last August,
yes,
my youngest daughter went and trained on Broadway. She's a musical theater kid. She's going to college doing musical theater. And I found this little thing about Elf is my favorite Christmas movie. I just love Elf. So
you said that on the question.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I did all the things that Elf did, right? I went to Central Park where they had the snowball fight. That was summer. I got the crappy cup of coffee.
Okay.
Toy Story a little bit. I snuck into the Empire State Building without a ticket. I snuck into a tour crowd and just got in. Walked away from the tour crowd, went to the elevator, hit the top floor, got up there, and I walked to the security guy. He goes, "Can I help you?" "I'm looking for my dad, Walter Hobbs."
He goes, "Another one."
He said, "I haven't had one of you assholes in 7 years." He took me down, told me I'd be arrested if I came back on the property, and turned me out.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, man. But you did everything.
Did everything.
And you didn't get arrested. That's great.
Get arrested. The important thing is my kid didn't have to.
I was going to say, that would not be a great way to explain when your daughter had to come bail you out.
No, it would have been terrible. And then, because it wasn't Christmas, the only thing I couldn't check off was the Central Park Christmas tree. But it was for all of you that haven't been to New York City, everyone should go to New York City. Or Chicago. I think
the energy is amazing.
You know what, Jeff, what gets me where I vibe in these cities, and I love it. I love the anonymity.
Nobody gives a crap who the hell you are, you were, what you've done, what you haven't done.
Go to this restaurant, go to this store,
I miss a lot of that.
I miss that here. I miss the anonymity.
Yeah.
Being able to just do your own thing for a couple hours and not worry about having to have a conversation.
For me, it's great here because I'm anonymous up north and I'm anonymous in the south. So that's no matter where I go, I'm new here, so nobody knows who the hell I am.
Well, with my wife growing up here, and
that's what, yeah.
It's different. So she and Sandy's daughter are lifetime best friends. They go from the same neighborhood.
Okay.
And they are sisters.
That's wild.
They're sisters. So people look at me, that's Holly's husband. I don't know who the hell I am, but they do know I'm Holly's husband. And I think it took probably 4 or 5 years at church before people knew my name, to be honest with you.
I'm
Holly's husband. Yeah, I am. I'm Holly's
You expect that coming from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meeting you 20 times and I still don't know your name.
It's funny as heck, man. But the dynamic of it is interesting. And, people here are genuinely very friendly. And
you know what? one of my speech therapists explained to me that a big part of why I don't remember people's names is that as a stutterer, you overthink everything,
Battling.
and you're battling in your own head, and you don't hear what they said, is because you're so worried that what you're going to say is going to be messed up.
So the conveyance from your end is the most important thing.
Yes, because you don't want them to feel like you're a total moron or you say something stupid, and then you don't hear anything they say.
That makes a lot of sense.
It just, my brain shuts off. And then I'm like, wait a second. Oh my God, I didn't even hear their names.
It's a different way. It's just a perspective that most of us will never have.
And no, because but then I saw another article that a lot of people, because of our insecurities, are worried about what people think of us. So they don't not remembering people's names is a kind of a common thing. Not everyone, but because the barrier is up of you care about what they think of you, even if you don't necessarily care, you still want to put forth something that is not going to make them freak out. I'm trying to put it lightly, of not being a weirdo or
normalized.
I don't like using the word normal or doing whatever, but it's the only thing I can kind of think of.
Gosh, I hope nobody's normal. It's kind of
no.
Quirks are fun. So another part of our culture, right? We're worried about other people's expectations. Yeah. We got to get rid of that crap.
Crazy.
We got to be comfortable in our own skin. Be brave enough to be who we are.
I've just started that 2 years ago, of trying to be comfortable in my own skin in front of people and not worry about what they're going to think if I act goofy, if I don't act goofy.
We should be goofy. We should be different. We should be interesting. We shouldn't be cut out of a cookie cutter all doing the same thing. We shouldn't be worried about.
But when you get insults, people who will insult you to your face,
that's their problem.
It is. And it's hard to deal though. Yeah. When you have somebody says you're an embarrassment. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's their.
And I'm like, wait a second.
It's hard to shuck that, right?
It's hard to get that off that monkey on my back. It's still, you're like, well, is that the way everybody feels?
That 50-pound gorilla, right? You just can't get it.
Yeah. And I was listening to a podcast, Diary of a CEO. Mm-hmm. Great podcast, a million different guests. And I watched like 2-3 minutes of each one so I can get kind of, I don't focus well. So I get 2 or 3, and it's getting worse as this society turns into, if you don't get anything in the first 3 seconds, you're gone, because there's so much content. I get it.
There's almost too much.
You want to experience everything, but you don't experience hardly anything at the end of the day because you rush through it. But then you don't take in this. It's hard.
It's funny for me to retain a lot of stuff. I have to write it down.
Yeah.
I'm a person, if I write it,
I just started doing a lot of that. Yeah, what was I even talking about? What was my point?
The point was, we're going to be okay because we're not normal. We don't conform.
We're
worried about judgment.
Oh, the monkey on my back when, someone says you're an embarrassment. And I was like, and then I got home and I'm like, I don't think I created anything for like 2 weeks because I just kept seeing that.
Well, I kept hearing it.
I kept hearing it. I'm like,
your head, didn't it?
So I said, all right, well, let me chill out. Let me see why is this bothering me so much? Is it that I agree with them, or is it that I just don't like? It's just old beliefs.
I think when we hear that, Jeff, it's not so much that we believe them. We're more worried about everyone else believing them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that's where we worry about how wide.
I always think, does everybody feel that way?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so it's not how
one person said it.
One could be 100. And I think that's what bothers us.
Yeah.
That's what, in society, it's hard to just let go of stuff.
I'm slowly getting better at it, which is why I do 3 videos a day. And I've been doing it since February 13th.
Wow.
And I had a hard time even pressing record. Since the last time our podcast, I went into...
Just funked out.
I funked out because I was afraid. I was afraid of judgment.
You can't fight the funk.
You can't, but I listened to the song and then I said, well, what am I waiting for? I got all this cool stuff that I bought for a reason. It's not like I don't have an idea. We
Well,
have a plan, and I have to step up.
because your purpose.
Yes,
You
my
gotta know
purpose.
Your purpose is so important. And when people deny your purpose, that's their problem. And it's hard for us to overcome.
And then I just started.
Yeah.
I
Just got to go.
I just hung up the shirts over there. I wanted to make it so I was very detail oriented. I paid paid attention to details, because when you do a video every 30 seconds, 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and then you do 3, 4 a day for one section, and then you have to edit it and then put different things to it. You know, there's a whole process, and I didn't know the process, and it freaked me out. So I was afraid of being stupid. But then one day on February 13th, I said, I woke up and I said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I have to learn. And it took me, you know, the videos were terrible. And all the things that I notice now, I didn't notice then.
So now you got a great question to ask when you do your next one.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking your questions. Tell me something that trips you up, something that just trips you up, that takes you out for hours. And maybe we can talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, send in the comments and let's
I know my brain takes me out of it because I was talking to Jeannie this morning, and it seems like a lot easier for me to give up now is because I don't want to feel that feeling anymore. I fought through it for so many years, and I got through it.
Right.
And it just was so uncomfortable that now when I feel a little bit of it, I don't want to feel any of that. So I either cancel what I'm going to do. So now it became, you know, you get unreliable because you cancel.
Yep.
You get sick for no reason.
Well, you do.
Because your mind's just going.
I find if I don't schedule things in my day, if I don't fill it up, I get in bad place. You know, we're left to our own devices, so to speak, right? The old adage, left to your own devices, things could going to happen. So finding ways to fill it up positively, making sure I'm intentional. I make time to read everything.
Yeah.
You know, just to get out there, read especially reading a novel. I do that, especially reading. I'm wary of news, right? I'm very wary of news. I'd rather go into things that are going to talk about health. We talk about mental health and physical health.
The news is rough, man. Gets me in a real weird mood.
And I don't want to be bummed down about stuff. I really try and stay away from people who are sensationalists. I have no desire to being these people who are really high and really low. That doesn't serve me well. You know, we talk about performing as an athlete or as a musician. You don't want to be one of those guys who's a 3 one time, really low, and then all of a sudden you're a 10 in your bank. You know, being that sudden spot and being steady suits me a lot better than all the yo-yos up and down. I want to be in that 7 area all the time. And I really learned a lot of that from my wife. You know, when she runs, she doesn't want to be running a long race as a 3 and then as a 10 because you wear out. So she tries to stay in that steady 7 the whole time.
I was okay doing that with football.
Yeah.
I kept but life, and performing.
You see, performing is a different deal, isn't it?
When you get off the stage, and even if you're playing to 200 people, 3,000 people, 8 people, something happens in your body that when you're done, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And I don't know, some people feel it more than others. I can't imagine the rock stars, you know, which is why they, you know, do so many different things after the gigs, is because you don't know what to do with yourself.
Yeah. Numbing down is what
you come off
you got to numb down.
And I can imagine that with pro athletes, anybody who on that high level, that's up.
You got to fill that time.
Yeah.
You know, work for a Fortune 5 company for a long time. A lot of times I was just doing public speaking in front of big groups, which I feed on that a little bit. And I'm not very good at staying on a script. You know, that's not my thing. You put a slide up there, I can run with it. Just
okay.
Just living on it. And Meredith Getz, if you are listening to this, you're the one that had to deal with me as my work partner all the time in those events. And she always had, like, she was like holding on to the roller coaster, right? Waiting to see where I was going to turn, because she had to play off it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we both grew very well in our profession because we had that really good partnership. But we always, worried about, not knowing the crowd before we got there, and being in a different part of the state, not knowing how the product or the company was perceived. And finding through some of that. So those are little things that we had to learn to overcome as well. And we decided that we weren't going to be super serious in all of it. We're going to add a little levity, like we did a fake magic act one time.
Okay.
The little things just to mix it up and not be so corporate.
Yeah.
And be a little bit more fun and take away the pressure of all that, right?
It's hard not to be stuffy when you're in the corporate world, because you don't want to piss anybody off, and you don't want to
corporate person, man.
You don't want to push the limits, and something that's right for you might not be right for a corporation
too. They try and put us in the box.
You're not allowed to.
Yeah. And that's a drag.
You want to go by the script.
Yeah.
And if you don't go by the script, you're wrong.
Yeah. I didn't go by the script. Didn't want to. And it wouldn't have been me. And I wanted to serve people. That's the only thing I want to do in life. I just want to serve.
I mean, I can understand they spent a ton of money on coming up with these statistics and what the script is and who wrote
how the slide should look.
Everything. Yep. I get that. Yeah, I get that there is validity to that, but to totally put you in the box is hard for people like us. But
do it because we're creative people. We want to tell stories.
But I worked for a corporation for a little bit, and the people who didn't have that, like we do, on the side, and we like to be kind of our own people, loved to jump on the corporate bandwagon, and they felt like they were needed. The
music was just a way to take all this outside world and bring them into one place. And really focus. And it helped with my homework. It helped with my listening to my coaches and being focused in practice and magic.
Now you just felt it?
Yeah.
Because when you're in that position, it's hard to want to do anything because you're so frustrated.
You know what it was, Jeff, to be honest with you, in fourth grade, teachers would always let me get up. It's take a lap around the class. But, going into fourth and the fifth grade, I didn't have to do that anymore. I could sit at my desk, and that's where I'm like, wow, this is where I needed to be. I'm so glad I got here. That was really the thing. I can sit and do math and process it and have a logical mind. So for me, music, that bit of playing piano, I wasn't I was a terrible piano player, but I was a great focuser because I could play, and I could intently read books for a long time.
People don't understand that when you do something like that, it affects a lot of other parts of your life that make it better.
Yeah.
It's hard to understand that because you just, when my brain was just all over the place with those thoughts, I was all over the place.
It's frustrating, depressing.
Oh,
when you can't rein
them in.
No,
that's a great word. I can't rein them in. And I always used to explain this to people.